everyone, my name is Andrea Nicolas. I'm the Developer Evangelist of Microsoft Philippines, and I'm here today with Jay Paloma, Enterprise Security MVP. We're here to talk about Jay's MVP experience. So Jay, can you tell us who you are?
Hello Sandra, once again I'm Jay Paloma. I'm an MVP for Enterprise Security. Right now I'm a consultant at Microsoft Services and I'm based in Singapore.
Okay, tell us about your MVP history. When were you first awarded?
I was awarded last April 2007 in security specialization. Before that, I created a blog called Security is a State of Mind. That was sometime in 2005. Then from that time on, I became very active in the Microsoft Philippines community already. So we organize events, even non-technical events like Technopreneur event, even that non-technical. Then sometime in around 2006, there's a guy, J.R. Barrios, who is himself an MVP also.
JR, yeah.
He formed the Philippine Windows Users Group, and I helped FIBO, yeah, and I helped him out. By 2007, I was elected as FIBO president and served as FIBO president for 1 year. Then I had to decline yung re-election because I was moving to Singapore already, yeah, around 2010.
So big loss in the case of FIBO and also in the case of Philippines because we've lost an MVP and a talent like you, Jay.
Well, not necessarily because the guys in FIBO are really very good folks.
Hello, John.
and they still continued the legacy of FIBO being a contributor, a technical contributor, very active. So my hats off to them.
Mm-hmm. Until now, they do conduct several events for them.
Yeah.
Actually, FIBO na, I would agree with Jay, is really very active. So Jay, how long have you been in the business?
That's a trick question.
Yes, it's a trick question.
So that you won't calculate my age, I'll just give you a clue. I've installed Windows on using floppy disk.
Okay,
so
floppy disk, not micro.
Not CD, not the maliit, but the floppy. Well, kidding aside, so I remember the first technologies I worked with Microsoft is Windows 95, 3.1 actually, nakunan ko ba? Windows 95.
Mouse.
Yeah. Yeah. Windows 95, Windows 93.51, and Exchange 4. So more or less that's around 1996. So that makes me being in Microsoft technology for around 15 years.
15 years, tagal na. More than a decade.
Yeah.
So what do you do to keep up with the latest tools and technologies?
The latest tools and technologies, basically I keep myself updated by doing two things actually. One is yung work. Okay, so because of work, I'm a consultant. Because of work, sometimes more often than not, you will be placed in a situation where you have to know this technology, or if you don't, then you have to ramp up on technology. And another way for me to keep up is to conduct community events. Believe it or not, that's the best way for me to keep up. Why? Because you have this target date. You will deliver that event. You're forced to study that. Go to a point that you will be comfortable presenting that to a group of people. So, in that manner, I am forced to study and keep up with the latest ones. So there, conducting community events also.
So Jay, what does being an MVP?
Well, Zandra, I take MVP as it is. MVP, the Microsoft Most Valuable Professional Program, is a way for Microsoft to express Microsoft's appreciation for one's contributions to community. Okay, so as Microsoft's expression, it is Microsoft's prerogative also to confer or not to confer MVP, the MVP recognition to someone. Okay. So basically, MVPs here in the Philippines, I see them as people who are very active in evangelizing their field of experience, and some of them, the first ones, okay, yeah, they even form their user groups, okay, for them to be able to have a platform where they can share their experiences with the community. So basically that's it. I mean, MVP is Microsoft saying thank you to people who are very passionate about the technology to the point that they do something like it.
But it has to be having a passion first for sharing your knowledge.
Yep, passion first. You have to have that passion. Then you have to have that so much passion that you have no choice but to spread it out through the community.
So I'm sure as of this point, most of our technical community members would want to know if you would want to share any key points and advice for those of them who wanted to become an MVP themselves.
My advice to people, for those of you who want to become MVP, is to contribute, okay, to the community. Actually, again, as I said earlier, right, MVP is Microsoft's prerogative. So leave the conferring to Microsoft. Leave the choosing to Microsoft. First, what you have to do is become active in the community. You have to contribute to the community, and by actually being active in the community, Zandra, there's already very instant takeaways. There are things that you can gain already. IT professionals nowadays, my experience in Singapore, they're not just left on desktops doing this. Okay? They present already. They have to have that presentation skill already. They develop their own PowerPoint slides to explain a concept to, they might not be CIOs, CXOs, they might be other community, other technology people themselves. But an IT professional nowadays has to have that presentation skill already. Something that you can learn on the community for free. And if you fail, there's no major setback. It's just an embarrassing. The worst thing is that you get embarrassed, but at least you don't lose your job because you're conducting it for free, right? Another is writing. Okay, right? You can, if you think that you're not the standing in front of people type, then you can create your blog and place all your thoughts, all your experiences in your blog, okay, in your tech blog. So that way, you can actually learn how to write, learn how to explain a key concept like how to do something, how to install Windows 7 from a USB stick, for example. So you get to learn how to write those types of documents through your tech blog, which eventually goes back to professional experience, because eventually IT pros eventually do those things in their normal line of work. So another is when you actually present, because you need to present technology to a community event, for example, that actual studying for the technology, you might not use it now, but it might come in handy later on. An example, I remember this. So one of my previous Facebook events is actually explaining encryption. So that's a long time ago. Okay? That's a long time ago. In one day at work, my boss just told me, hey, go to this client, explain the encryption mechanisms of BitLocker.
So it did help you explain.
I mean, with very minimal study, I just identified what are the encryption mechanisms of BitLocker. All the rest of the things that I presented in front of the customer actually came from stock knowledge that I remember during that Facebook presentation. So you'll never know. You give, you contribute, and eventually things go back to you by way of skills, new skills that you learn, new people that you meet. Like, and in that BitLocker case, something that you did a long time ago, and right now you need it on the fly. So those things up. As for becoming an MVP, if you get noticed, Microsoft gives it to you. We don't know that. Okay, we don't know that. Let Microsoft confer the award. It's their prerogative. But what you can control is contribute to the community, and you can gain all these skills already.
Very good point. So it's really about your passion to share, your passion about the technology.
Yep.
So it's also about giving whatever knowledge you have, technical knowledge that you have, to the community as well.
Actually, I forgot one thing about the blog. The first person actually that the tech blogs that I do, the first person that is being helped is actually me. Why? Because I wrote something. So I wrote down something. Eventually, some customers might ask, "Hey Jay, how do I do this?" And you remember, you know what? I wrote that already some time back.
You can refer
Okay?
to my blog.
It's either, if I'm online that time, you know what, sir? I wrote it down. Look here. Okay? Or you can just tell them, in the case of the videos that I did on Windows 7 deployment, for example, I did a 7-part series on Windows 7 deployment. Whenever I conduct these Windows 7 deployment workshops in Singapore, if people ask for more details, I just point them to the link of those videos. Okay, if they want to learn more about the process, okay, here's the process. Here's a 7-part video. View it. After you review everything, I'll answer your questions. So it helps. I mean, it helps make my job easier, actually.
Very good point.